should be holding my phone.
Yeah, just the whole time.
Oh, hi, Jeff. I didn't see you there.
That'd be awful. We're opening with that now. What's going on, movie lovers?
Oh, hi, Jeff.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Kyle.
And we are Shut Up, I Like This podcast where we talk about how much we like movies and we don't shit on film.
And we drink out of cool Shut Up, I Like This mugs available
brand new
now
mugs
on
PantheonNetwork.com.
You betcha.
Yeah, pretty awesome. I wanted to get them sooner, but just kept putting it off.
We're slowly turning into a talk show.
Yeah, right?
Like, eventually we're going to have, like, a couch and all kinds of...
I mean, yeah, we just need more space.
Would.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's getting there.
Yeah. No, this is really cool. Like, I like it. I like this a lot better than us drinking out of cans of Monster Energy drink that we're not sponsored by.
No, I'm not drinking Monster.
No, not at all. I'm actually not.
It's I don't know, just
I've never seen Monster out of the can.
I know,
before.
It's disturbing, right?
Yeah, it looks like sickly Kool-Aid.
I'm
not a big fan.
I don't like looking at it. But anyways, we are here today talking about Daybreakers.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this movie. I saw it when it came out.
Ooh.
Big fan. So I'm super excited to talk about it. Love everybody involved. Love Ethan Hawke. Love
Mason. I'm
Ethan
try really
Hawke.
Hard not to say Ethan Hunt because I just got done watching Mission Impossible.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to say that.
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
I always get Ethan Hawke and John Hawkes mixed up.
I can see that.
Anyways, Willem Dafoe.
I love me some William.
Love Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. I'm saying William. This will be the episode where I mispronounce it.
Ethan Hunt, William Dafoe, and Dr. Alan Grant.
Alan Grant.
Sam Neill.
Boy, it's a delight to see him in another movie. I know he's done movies, clearly, but he's not in enough stuff, and that's a point that I'm just gonna bore everyone to death on the amount of times I hit home on that during this podcast. Marvel or DC, get a hold of him and get a hold of Ethan Hawke, put him in something, and make everyone realize how great they are, or remember how great they are.
I think remember is a better word, for sure.
In the case of Sam Neill, for sure. Yeah.
I like that he's a bad guy in this film, too.
I know, right?
It's really awesome.
You don't really see him that kind of roles too often, but he does a good job of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I dug him as, like, the evil corporate overlord.
Right?
Vampire overlord.
Did it really well, too.
Yeah, he did.
I like him.
He looks good with the vampire fangs, too. I dug that quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of interesting. It's a writer-director duo of brothers, Michael and Peter Spierig.
Okay.
So they started off with a short, and then they have a full-fledged film, like 2003, I think it was. I want to check it out sometime. It's called Undead. It looked pretty interesting. And then some of the, they got Daybreakers. This was it's a bomb. I mean, it's kind of...
Was it?
Yeah, it's kind of universally panned. It didn't do that great. It's kind of fallen to the wayside.
Yeah,
nobody talks about Daybreakers.
You're the only person, we say this every time.
I know, right?
You're the only person who's ever like, we should watch Daybreakers. Yeah. And I'm like, fucking we should.
It's a great film. Great. Yeah, definitely.
I think I have a poster for it.
Oh my god, really?
My collection of shit.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
because this is when I was working at the theater.
Yeah. Damn.
So, yeah, I've got a poster.
That's awesome.
For Daybreakers. No, I won't sell it to you.
So, so this was 2010. And then they went on to do Flaunt It.
Yeah.
He just held up the mug again for our listeners. Predestination with Ethan Hawke as well.
Okay.
I think that's the time travel. It's kind of like I'm not 100% sure. I think it's like Minority Report, kind of their take on it.
I've never heard of it.
Predestination. It was on Netflix for a while, I think. Maybe.
That's not a good name for a movie. That doesn't help.
Predestination
does not help their cause. But I don't know. I would like to see it.
And then they did, more recently, they did the Jigsaw film. Kind of the end to the Saw series.
Oh, see, I thought that's a franchise I fell off from. I think a lot of people did.
Yeah,
I've never seen Jigsaw.
I saw up to like 3D because Sean Patrick Flannery was in it. So I'm like, oh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, there's a bunch of them I haven't seen.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind watching
that
them.
series made the mistake of killing off the interesting character way too soon, and then trying to shoehorn him at like 8 films later. Like, by the way, he still had all this planned out. Like, no, he didn't. That's fucking dumb.
Yeah, I know. It's like the first.
For us to say it's dumb, it means it's really fucking dumb.
The first like 2 or 3 Saws, I was on board. I was like, okay, yeah,
so
that's fine.
The first Saw movie is. Maybe not a top 10, but top 25
of like horror
of horror for me.
Yeah,
that ending in particular, I didn't know. I know spoilers. I remember the end of the movie. I watched it with like a group of friends in their basement, and we were all like, "What?" Mind blown, and rewind it
for sure.
And then like you immediately want to watch the movie over. That is a great, great, great ending.
Yeah, for sure. I like how it got made. It started out. I love the duo like now. James Wan and the writer.
What's his name? I'm drawing him.
I know.
I'm a fucking idiot.
But he's still with like they're the dynamic duo. They did like
he did
Conjuring. They did
Aquaman.
James Wan's doing Aquaman.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
They did what's the other one? Insidious together.
Oh yeah. I love the Insidious.
Insidious is really great.
Yeah.
So I love, but it started out as like a college thing. It was a short film, and then it got kind of brought into like to a full production, and then from there, I mean, it just took off.
Terry E. Lewis, who's not in anything anymore, chews up the scenery.
Danny Glover as the detective.
Danny Glover too. Yeah.
There's a laundry list of like lower tier, like they're great actors.
Just like people that I like. That aren't in it
exactly.
Anymore.
Really. Yeah. Saw's great. So they finished it up. Yeah, they finished it up with Jigsaw.
Yeah.
So this was like their second full feature film.
Okay.
And I think they fucking crushed it.
I'm a big fan of Daybreakers. I try not to pay too much attention to what other people say and let that sway my opinion for movies. Because I want to like a movie because I want to like it.
Yeah.
And Daybreakers is one that I always really enjoyed, and I really didn't know, because I don't Rotten Tomatoes everything I watch.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this was like, oh, people don't like Daybreakers? Oh, okay, that's kind of a surprise to me.
Yeah.
I think this is a cool movie.
It's a
cool concept. It's a
very cool concept.
Yeah.
It's like something that came out earlier, I mean very much earlier, but like Underworld, films like that are like in this world of vampires and stuff, but it's like they're still hiding from the humans.
They're
you know
underground.
What I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like Blade or whatever.
To see a film where you're rooting for a vampire, essentially.
Yeah.
It's just a cool, different take. You get to see their world. We talked about this with like, what we're talking about.
The Will Smith film?
The
Netflix one?
Right. You get to see all this world building.
Yeah, and you want to see more of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I had a complaint about Daybreakers, I wanted to see more of the vampire world.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, like the little glimpses that we got were awesome. It's like, give me more.
Get a little disappointed when there's like a movie like Daybreakers, and it's set right at the tail end. Like they're finding a cure, and everything's gonna come to an end and whatever.
Right.
I want to see
the takeover.
Well, not even so much the takeover. Give me the middle of it. Like, give me a movie set in the middle of all of this, like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When vampires are just the dominant species, and they've taken over, and they're ruling, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
What's day-to-day life like for a society of vampires?
Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting. Can we see that? And then by the time we get to the third film, then do Daybreakers. Like, there should have been 2 more. There should have been 2 movies before this, and Daybreakers should have been the conclusion.
I had something about that, about how Daybreakers, like you said, would have either been helped by being like a trilogy, or even just giving us like a prequel sequel at the end of it. Just something else.
I think there's a lot to be said for sometimes you just gotta fucking keep going with a franchise.
It's like how we just talked about Saw.
Okay.
It's like you go too far, but other times you just do one film.
Here's my perfect example for sometimes You just have to recognize you have a really good concept, tweak it a little bit. The Purge. The first Purge movie, I'm a big supporter of that one. I felt like the only one that was a supporter of it at the time. Everyone else hated it. And then they kept going, and they did Purge 2, and Purge 2 is fucking fantastic. Frank Grillo, man, yeah. And it, like, takes what people liked about the concept of the first movie and expands upon it. And then they went on with, Purge 3, and there's, like, a Purge TV series that they're doing now.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know about that? It's like a Purge TV series.
Really?
What was the latest one? Not Purge.
Election Year?
Yeah, Election. I haven't seen Election Year yet.
Me either.
Prime example of you just got to keep going. Sometimes, if you've got a good core idea, Daybreakers is an awesome core idea. If they did a sequel, if they would have done a sequel, it could have been like Purge 2. Or they could have been like, hey, let's take the cool concept we got and expand upon it. It could have been fucking badass.
Exactly.
But no, they gotta listen to everyone's shit all over it.
I mean, Skyline got a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we get a Daybreaker sequel?
Come on. Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, like their concept is amazing. I like the little glimpses that we do get of the world.
Like the car.
The car. I like the shades.
Daytime driving mode.
Right.
Activate.
Yeah. I like
1 hour. Hell, what was the siren? Did you catch that?
Yeah, like the Purge siren.
The siren goes off and it's like
1 hour to daylight.
Health warning, 1 hour until daylight or until sunrise.
Yeah.
See, shit like that is cool to me.
The coffee, instead of creamer, they put blood in it. 20%, and then it keeps cutting down.
5%.
Yeah, it's like getting creamer, 20% milk and stuff. And
yeah.
It's
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It's just those little world building
things.
That's
the world building stuff that I want to see more of.
What were they called? Subwalks? They started like making tunnels for daytime walking. We didn't even get to really see them.
I know.
We saw the subway, but we didn't get to see their little subwalks.
Yeah.
Something like I noticed in like a lot of the cityscapes is they have like skywalks like we would have, but they're like almost round and like completely covered and stuff, so they can switch buildings in daylight and stuff. I don't know. It's just those little things that you pick up. You're like, that's a really good idea. Why aren't we seeing more? We're just kind of following along this kind of plot line. But give us more. I don't know.
I really like the plot of the film too.
It's fine. But I want more.
Yeah, it's like they blew their wad on we're gonna cure it in the first film, where can you hold off because this is really cool. I don't want you to find a cure for it right now. I want to spend more time in this universe.
It's weird that we're drawing similarities to Bright because it is kind of that way too. We follow them along this like kind of keep away game.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but I want to see more of like what's going on outside.
Yeah. I'm excited for Bright too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. See, Bright gets a sequel? Come on, Daybreakers should get one.
I think the time has passed for a Daybreakers.
I don't know. Ethan Hawke looks the same.
Maybe he's an actual vampire.
He might be.
I don't know.
He might be. So I saw this when it came out. What was your first experience with this?
I don't remember. I think DVD.
Yeah?
It was the first time I seen it. Pretty sure it's one that I just bought new at the store or whatever. I really don't remember.
I don't remember.
I mean, I remember seeing, like, previews for it and stuff and thinking, that looks cool.
Mm-hmm. I was, like, super psyched to see it and nobody else wanted to go.
Yeah.
Like, are you shitting me? That looks awesome. So this is set in the year 2019.
Oh.
Which is kind of silly. It's only next year.
As of this recording.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot to be done in a year.
I guess I didn't catch that.
Yeah, the year 2019.
Well, that was what, 10 years off from when the film...
Do you think they could establish dominance in 10 years? Yeah, I bet they could.
Yeah, they could have, because you think about how fast. I mean, they didn't really explain how it spread.
I mean, they bite each other.
But I don't know if there was... They never really explained how...
Like how it started.
Yeah.
Where did vampirism start?
Yeah, like how did it go from...
1%.
I mean, I don't know, like the Blade films, like 1%.
Oh my god. I was going to mention Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
The third Blade film plays very along the same lines as this film.
Yeah.
It's that looking for a cure kind of thing.
I think lore-wise, that was really maybe my only question is, well, why would they turn everyone?
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. They're starting to. They're keeping a bunch of. That's why they used those trank darts.
Yeah.
That's because they wanted to save us for.
Yeah.
Which in Blade Trinity they have the same exact blood farms in like the plastic baggies and stuff.
Let's be fair, it's inspired by the Matrix. I mean, if we're going back to where like bank farms
it's all
of people
farming humans. Yeah.
Yeah, it all comes from the same general area there.
What do you think of the very opening with the little girl?
Oh, that was cool.
I really liked the opening.
Yeah.
I think it was a strong opening.
Yeah, I did too.
The only thing that bothered me was the fucking bat that flew across really fast. Like, I was reading the credits, all of a sudden it's just like, poof, bat. But the way that girl is writing in her journal and stuff, and talking about, I never get an age. I'm just going to be this way forever. And it's like, you feel for that little girl. And then she goes out there and sits there in the daylight, waits for the sun to come up, and it's a beautiful shot of the sun coming up, and the light kind of floods over the trees, and then it just kind of creeps up her, and it's a nice... That's something I really wanted to mention, is this film was visually stunning. I loved the way that they played with colors, with lighting. It just every shot was beautiful. I particularly
like the daytime shot of Ethan Hawke underneath the tree.
Yeah.
In the daytime, where
I like that tree. That was just a cool tree.
Was visually cool, but he had the dark sunglasses on and the hat pulled down, and seeing him creeping around in the light, and they did a good job of making his skin look pale.
Yeah.
That was a cool.
Very interesting.
That was a cool moment in the middle of the film that I liked. I thought the opening was fun because it sets the tone right away for, hey, just because everyone's a vampire doesn't mean they're fucking happy.
Exactly.
And
it's that age-old question of immortality. Like, is it worth it or not?
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I've seen the first Twilight film. Everyone's too happy, and I mean, I know they're like teenage angst movies, but everyone's like, I'm a fucking vampire, I'm gonna play baseball.
Right.
Life is fucking great. Like, I like this movie because, I don't know, it asks interesting questions. Again, maybe I would have liked to have seen more of that.
Daybreakers is the DC vampire. Twilight's the Marvel vampire.
The Marvel vampire. Well, but Blade is the Marvel vampire.
Right.
But yeah.
MCU.
Okay. I follow.
Right.
So Blade would have been like the Marvel Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Marvel Dark. Yes. For sure. God, I love Blade.
We didn't talk about Ethan Hawke with Batman.
Yeah, go for it. Tell us.
Since you just brought up DC,
yeah.
He was almost cast as Batman, and he's
what year? Was it for the Dark Knight one?
I think it was for the Dark Knight one. Yeah, he talks about how he regrets that decision.
Really?
Which,
yeah, I don't know if he's my Batman though.
I was watching him in this movie with that in mind, thinking you could put the cowl on him and he could pull it off.
He's got.
Like we say every Batman discussion, you just get someone with a strong chin.
Yeah.
And a good voice.
He got goofy teeth like me, though.
Yeah, they could CG that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think he would have been. I like him. I don't think he would have been a good...
I think you posed an interesting question. I saw your Twitter talking about how we're talking about this tonight. We're talking about Ethan Hawke. If he were in DC or Marvel, like, what's some good casting decisions? I was thinking of Question from DC. Oh, is it Question? The trench coat and the mask and the top hat?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Maybe Green Arrow.
Yeah.
I know.
A little younger, maybe.
Yeah. You just get,
a little, maybe. I bet he's like 50.
Probably.
Yeah, I bet he's getting up there. Yeah. That's depressing.
I really didn't have any good thoughts for who you could cast him as myself, personally. I was curious if you did. But...
That's the only thing I could think of. Or, like, just, like, I think in, like, half his movies he plays a cop. So I think maybe just put him in, like, the Gotham PD or something, or the Metropolis
whatever
attorney, or, something. About, like, nah, it's too old for that. Oh, Black Mask or Two-Face or something, maybe.
Black Mask?
Black Mask.
Black Mask could be interesting.
That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough call. Yeah, you'd have to like really sit down and think about that.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's like nothing pops up. You said Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
you can't.
That's
in our fantasy world of casting. You can't recast over top of someone
Yeah, right.
Currently,
right
in the role.
That's who I always imagined him as. He'd be a good Doctor Strange.
I don't know. He's a good pull for, I think either
one.
Either company.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring him in. He's got some star power. He can do good with it. I don't know for what.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like Ethan Hawke. It's like, even like we're, pretty young. Yeah. We love Ethan Hawke. My mom likes Ethan Hawke. My grandma used to like Ethan. Like Ethan Hawke's
like
just
these cups a lot.
Yeah, exactly. These mugs.
Available now on PantheonNetwork.com.
PantheonNetwork.com. Yeah, I don't know though. But just throw him in there. I'd like him.
Yeah.
Same thing with Sam Neill though. Like you said, just getting him in somewhere.
Yeah.
Just let him do his thing.
Find a place for Sam Neill in your franchise. Like, he's a good
Doctor Doom. He's a bit old, but some like how he was in this, some head of the evil corporation or something. I don't know. I like him a lot though.
Yeah, I like Sam Neill. He's a
love him.
I had heard that the next Jurassic Park film, he might be making a return.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it still like a Jurassic World trilogy thing? Is that what they're thinking of doing?
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Jurassic World.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know.
I'm a big fan. I wanted to see it, but sometimes life gets in the way and you don't.
Too much other shit going on. Yeah, and, I don't know. I still haven't seen Jurassic World.
Daybreakers and
so
I know it's a good movie. Do you ever get like that too? I know it's a good movie, so I've got no rush to watch it because it's always going to be a good movie.
Right.
So I can wait until whenever.
John Wick. Yeah. It took me like 4 years to watch John Wick.
I haven't seen John Wick 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I really like John Wick too.
This winter when there's a blizzard outside. What else is going on? I'll do a double feature.
Yeah, I can't wait for that third one.
Jurassic World and John Wick 2 and.
For sure.
Yeah.
Don't jinx yourself. It's coming up soon, bud.
I know.
Fucking. I feel like we just got rid of that shit.
Yeah.
Going back to like the visual stuff, the way that they distinguish vampires from humans, obviously, you have fangs and all that stuff, but the eyes in this film, oh man. So here's my favorite, not my favorite scene when we do that, but kind of my favorite shot that was just so visually awesome. It's pretty early in the film. Ethan Hawke's in the subway waiting for the train.
Yeah.
And you see a whole line of them, and they just look like us. Their eyes are a little shinier. And then the subway goes by, and it's completely black, and you just see their eyes lighting up in the dark. Cool. That was a great shot. That was really...
There's lots of good moments like that.
Oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, I have a shitload of screenshots.
Cool.
There's so many of them. Yeah. With the little girl, the sun rising... Beautiful shots.
One underneath the tree was
I have some of the tree for sure. Yeah. Reminds me of the tree from Big Fish.
Oh God, that's a good pull.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I totally do. Yeah.
That's funny.
God, so if you ever want to cry, folks at home.
Watch Big Fish.
Watch Big Fish, you will bawl your eyes out.
You think the Notebook's sad?
No, Big Fish.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then another part of the building that I really like, the world building, and coming off the plot, I like how it's like a kind of a real world situation. They're running out of food.
Sure.
I like this. They say they're getting blood deprived, and they call them these subsiders that like they kind of devolve into.
Yeah.
And it's more of like an archetypal, stereotypical, like Dracula bat thing.
They turn into the From Dusk Till Dawn.
Exactly.
It's a good way
to
frame it for people who've been listening for a long time.
It's episode 1.
Yeah. Was that really episode 1?
Episode 1, Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah.
Wow.
Start from the bottom. Now we're here with these mugs available at PantheonNetwork.com.
I did like that, though. I like the way that they tried to frame the whole being a vampire thing in more of a scientific way.
Yeah.
To where they don't turn into a bat, they don't turn into giant wings, and that's not the early stages of being a vampire.
Right.
Like, that's a disease for them, and is turning into the From Dusk Till Dawn looking monster creatures. I like that because I've never been a fan of, in vampire lore, oh, you can turn into a bat
and fly away and stuff. Yeah,
that was probably cool in like 1930. Yeah, it's not cool now.
That's interesting because I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
I do. Like you said, it's much more scientific.
Yeah.
It's like a cancer, a disease that they're trying to fend off by drinking blood, and go ahead.
No, continue. I can ask you a question.
And then like the subsiders turning into those is like a cancer. You're too far gone. It's I don't know how to explain it. But it's just super interesting.
It's like a mutation.
Yeah, there you go. It's like a mutation. You're not getting your nutrients. You're not getting all that kind of stuff. Your body kind of starts eating itself.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It's treated like a disease.
Exactly.
Which is why I am kind of asked at the beginning of the podcast, well, how did it spread? And you're like, well, from like vampire to vampire would be one way how you would turn someone. But I had almost wondered if there was supposed to be some kind of like airborne pathogen or something that would have mass turned people into a vampire, because they ask Ethan Hawke, well, how did you turn?
Oh, right.
And they...
Oh, right.
Yeah, and so they make the point of showing him turn during that scene, and you can see the vampire fang marks.
I love that. I wrote that down. You can see which people have been bit.
If the only way in the Daybreakers universe is for you to bite me and then I turn into a vampire, you wouldn't ask someone, how do you turn? Because everyone would have the same story when someone bit them. So that's kind of why I thought with the way they approached it scientifically, there had to have been some mass disease, pathogen, flu shots. Exactly.
It's the vaccines.
It's the vaccines for your children. Something like that had to have caused everyone to turn into a vampire. That is my logic behind the Daybreakers universe, Jeff.
I like how Sam Neill, he says that he had cancer, like when he was a human. He got diagnosed.
Yeah.
It was really hard for him to tell his daughter and stuff, but then a miracle happened, and he didn't really explain how he got it.
I know.
He didn't say, like, and then I was turned by so-and-so, or...
I don't remember ever seeing vampire marks.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see his bites either. So it's got to be something else.
That's why I said this movie should have been the third in the trilogy.
Yeah.
God damn it.
For sure.
They franchise movies that don't need to be franchised.
Yeah.
And other ones that should have them don't. That's irritating. Call me. Call Jeff. We'll fix your franchises for you, people.
I'll write a Daybreakers fan film.
Yeah.
For sure.
You could write a Daybreakers film.
Yeah. Just send it to him like, hey, if you can get Ethan, let me know.
Yeah.
You can have my script for like $10,000. I'm cheap. I just want this to be made.
I'll settle for $7.
I just want to see this done. So we
could do that.
This is a tough part because we talked about how this is more of like a scientific look on vampires. Their disease turning into subsiders, all this stuff. Something that is kind of subsiders. Yeah, I wrote it down because I was like, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I never quite caught it in the film.
Subsiders.
Subsiders. It is unlike Jacob Goodnight. Whoever thought up that one earned the right to say it a bunch of times.
Jacob Goodnight. Jacob Goodnight. Good night. But something like that is in vampire lore that is in this film, it's almost kind of cheesy, but I like it a lot. Ethan Hawke, in the very beginning of the film, gets out of his car. He's looking in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reflection.
Uh-huh.
It's like super cheesy and like very kind of nah, but I love that they did that.
So did you notice, I could be wrong, but I was looking, I don't think there's any more mirrors.
Other than on the cars?
Other than on the cars and any of the houses.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Or anything else that you see. I don't think there's another mirror in like the vampire world for the rest of the film.
Why would they need it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was looking for that specifically after that shot.
Why would they even need them on the cars though? Because they had all those video cameras and shit.
Well, for nighttime driving.
Oh, okay.
When they drive during the nighttime with their windows down and stuff, for them to still look and see what's going on.
Right.
Because I assume... like a vampire can look through like like a mirror. They just don't reflect in it, right? It's like a vampire was driving your car, like you can look through a side mirror and see what's behind them.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So they would still
they can still see it.
They would still serve that purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the lore of why they don't have a reflection? Something with the soul or something?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you soul. Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I don't remember, but
works.
Sounds familiar. Getting into Ethan Hawke's story, his brother's the one that turned him. He went to go he's in the army or whatever, comes back and it's what's his name? Edward Ethan Hawke, Edward. It's his birthday. It's just kind of silly.
I turned 37 again or however.
10 times. Yeah. It's like not special anymore. But that leads into my favorite scene, that home invasion scene with that subsider coming in.
I was super fascinated with the stupidest part of that scene. When he goes and he gets ice from the fridge, and he puts the ice in the cup, and then he pours the blood into the cup, and it's like super thick.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really fucking fascinating.
How it's like blood?
Yeah.
It's not just like really runny.
Yeah, it's like blood really with cool. Ice, and I'm like, that's really cool. I kind of want to try that. It looked good.
Okay.
It looked good in the film.
I mean, maybe you should just stick with Bloody Marys or something.
You think? I don't know.
But that is interesting.
That was fascinating.
The way that they did the blood drinks and stuff.
They would, of course, they would mix ice with it, or of course they would mix it in their coffee.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
I wonder,
that's so cool.
You mix it with your Cheerios.
So why do they have? Well, yeah, because they still eat food, like human food. Do they still need that, or do they just need?
Trying to remember. I don't.
Because I think they get all their sustenance that they need from blood.
It varies from adaptations here, but I don't think that they have to eat actual.
I don't think they do.
I think they can.
Yeah, because I think in Blade you see vampires eating.
Like they could.
Just for
fun.
Taste.
Yeah,
I guess.
Taste. But I don't think they have to.
So why would they all have fridges and ovens and stuff?
Well, fridges to keep the blood cool.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. And then I'm assuming they would also have alcohol and other shit.
Does alcohol affect vampires? I don't think it does.
I don't know.
These are the tough questions that we need to answer.
Yeah, if I was a vampire, I would still drink alcohol. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know. Why do they? That's a damn good question. I bet no one thought of that when they were doing set dressing. Why would they have refrigerators, really?
I mean, like you said, I guess to keep the blood cooled.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep it refrigerated. But, I mean, other than that, I don't think vampires have to eat, food.
I don't think so either.
Why? I mean, did they mention whether or not they were using animal blood, too? Did they mention
because Ethan Hawke's character is a vegan vampire.
He is.
He is. He's a vegan vampire where he doesn't drink human blood.
Right.
And they say even that pig shit.
Oh, okay, right.
You drink is getting hard to
come
by.
Which is kind of interesting. I mean, how would it be so difficult to farm and harvest pigs?
It's not, unless. Well, I mean, if everyone on the planet
has to have
this one thing.
Guess.
I can see how there would be a...
Yeah, that'd be a little tough.
Yeah.
See, this is all super interesting. And this is right? I want them to build more on. But that invasion, back to the home invasion scene with the subsider.
Yeah.
I had seen this film before. I completely forgot about that part. It scared the shit out of me when it came out. But how they kind of devolve into that stuff and they get stronger, because in vampire lore, once you're a vampire, you're already stronger. These don't seem to be all that much stronger than us.
No, which I kind of like.
Yeah, it's more of just the blood, lust, and immortality.
Yeah.
That's about all the perks that you get. But I like how the Subsider, like, once you kind of devolve into that, you do get stronger. You do get stronger.
Bat wings.
Yeah, bat wings and shit. That scene I thought was really cool when it flies upside down and grabs the ceiling, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Cutting and slashing at it. It was just a good...
Oh, yeah, they chopped the thing's head off.
Yeah, they cut the head off. I thought was really awesome.
Yeah.
It's just...
And then I like the way it was like Phil from gardening.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
That was like Phil from up the street.
Yeah.
I've seen him like 2 weeks ago, and he was fine.
Oh, and he was feeding on himself, so that's why it went so much faster.
Speeds it up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fucked up to think about. Like, you can't vampire cannibalism.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool, though.
Did you like the way, again, they tried to make it more scientific? They're like, oh yeah, there are early signs of being malnutritioned, or like elongated ears.
Oh yeah.
And there are times in the film where they visually show
Ethan Hawke's ears
getting larger.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And
super cool.
Someone was paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
I like when someone was paying attention to the shit they wrote and put it on screen.
Willem Dafoe and that woman, when they're driving him back, and they notice his ears and stuff, they're like, you need to fucking drink something, because we're not going to take you in.
No, I'm a vegan.
I'm a vegan vampire. I don't drink human blood. Like, bitch, you're going to drink some anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Just, like I said, those little things are fucking cool.
Dumb little shit like that in movies is
very cool.
Fascinating.
Willem Dafoe, let's jump to him a little bit, and everything. His voice is like on my top 10. I would put his voice in the top 10 with those of like Morgan Freeman and stuff like that. I love in a lot of films that he does, before his character's introduced, you hear his voice.
Him talk.
Yeah. I think that's amazing, because even if people who don't pay attention and just kind of go to movies for fun, that triggers something. You're like, oh, I've heard that voice before. I know that guy. And it kind of gets you excited. As soon as I hear that voice, I'm like, fuck yes, I love Willem Dafoe.
I know. It's been lost a little bit to the sands of time based on how many Marvel movies have came afterward. But Green Goblin, his performance in particular is just stunning. The scene where he's talking to the Green Goblin helmet, and he's like switching back and forth between Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin, is amazing shit.
Scenes in the mirror too. I really like.
In the mirror. Yep.
That's amazing shit.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
I love him. Boondock Saints. It's kind of my
never
first.
Seen Boondock.
That was my first dive with Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. And
I was immediately like, fuck yeah.
Wasn't he in one of the, like, Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
I don't think so.
I wanted to say so. I thought he was in there with Johnny Depp and.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Might have
I'll
been.
Look it up between a pause.
I don't know.
On the show here. He is good. I'm glad you mentioned
the voice.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's really.
I would listen to like books narrated by Willem Dafoe.
He had the funniest line.
He has a whole bunch of lines like that.
He had the funny line in the movie. An ugly fucking apartment.
Oh, right, yeah. And Ethan Hawke's like, seems fine to me.
Because, he's been living there.
Yeah. In a house like that, yeah.
I thought that was really funny because, vampires lore in general, they always have the weird kind of decor everywhere, and that kind of carries over into this movie.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that he was like, what an ugly fucking house. For no reason. No, it's just in the middle of a scene.
Which one was it? Oh, he's talking about when he flew out of the car and he got hit by the Suns. What did it feel like? Hurt like hell. Yeah. It's like, can you tell me anything else? He has in this movie in particular, he has a ton of lines that are just like, you stupid fucking vampire. Like, be more obvious.
And they gave him the hero shot at the end of the film where he shot the dude with the crossbow.
I have lots of screenshots of that.
You got a screenshot of that where he's holding the crossbow out, and then the camera does the slow pan into him on the total hero shot. They hang on him where he doesn't say anything. That was cool.
Hell yeah.
That was cool. I was a fan of that.
I have a whole bunch of those. As soon as I saw him like that, I'm like, print screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took a whole bunch of...
Do you like the exploding vampires?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I like the ash crumbling like Blade.
Okay.
I like, in some of these, they kind of, like the girl in the beginning, she kind of just...
She was
ashed and decomposed. I like that.
Kid, Jeff.
I think the exploding thing was the heart. When you hit them in the stake with a heart, that's what makes them explode.
Sure.
That's like
because when
internally
Ethan
combust.
Hawke was in the tank and they were running the experiments on him, he was clearly exploding.
Right. Exactly.
He had the wet towel, and then they sucked the
oxygen out and shit.
Yeah, the fire out of the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. That's a good catch.
I think it is the steak.
It must be the heart in the steak that makes him explode. Or the guy at the beginning of the film they were doing the test on.
Oh man, let's talk about that for a minute. I thought that was really crazy.
That was really fun.
That was really awesome. So, I think it was because they talked about doing these experiments on death row inmates and shit like that.
Yeah.
Sam Neill mentioned that. The next thing I know, they're doing this human trial, and he's like a soldier.
Yeah.
That like just got volunteered or something, and I really like that they put the cure, whatever it is, in him, the fake blood.
They were testing the blood substitute.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And it goes through him, doesn't feel anything. His temperature kind of goes up. It kind of takes a while for it to build up.
Which is cool.
And then it kind of starts festering in him. But they're able, because he's a vampire, he is regenerative. He's able to simmer back down. And how are you feeling? Oh, I feel fine. And then without missing a beat, it just blood mess everywhere.
I thought that was interesting. He turns and like he pukes.
Oh yeah, that was fucked up.
He turns and he pukes, and you see him start like melting on the side. And this goes back again to I'm picking up details in here. They inject him with that yellow syringe.
Oh yeah.
And then
it's supposed to like cool him down.
They put the yellow syringe in him, and then that's when he starts to like Wolverine himself back up and heal. And so I almost wondered, did they inject him with the thing that turns you into a vampire? Did they inject him with more of it to give him like a boost? Like a boost to make him cure, and then he just exploded.
Too much juice?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Let's go for that. Sounds good to me. I like...
The reason why I bring that up is because that ties into my working theory of there had to have been some kind of epidemic that caused it, and then, here's like a vial of it.
I wonder if there's any, like... This is going out on a stretch, but it's like if there's like Daybreaker fan fiction or something.
Probably.
You would think?
I mean, we joke that we're the only people that like Daybreakers.
Right, but there's
not the only people.
Somebody,
there's
right?
what?
50%.
50% of the people who watched this movie liked it. So 50% of the people out there have had this conversation at one point.
You think? This deep?
I mean, maybe not this deep, but it's the internet. There's everyone's a fan of something on the internet, Jeff.
Well, yeah, I guess.
You think there's like a Daybreakers like subreddit?
We're missing out if there is.
Yeah.
For sure. There was something else that I wanted to mention.
Remember how I said no one ever needs me until I'm podcasting? Yeah, every time.
There was something else I wanted to say about the... so I know this is switching films and stuff like that, but in Blade, there's that thing called DDHT or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And in Blade, the way they explain it, the vampires need to drink blood because their blood can't sustain hemoglobin or something.
Yes, correct.
And so they're trying to find like a way to balance that or get rid of it. And it just so happens that in Blade, they find a hematologist. But I like that exploding. It kind of ties in with this. It's like that thing that she makes, DTHD or DD8, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And she puts it under the microscope with some vampire blood, and it blows up the microscope. And he's like, some cure. It's not a cure. Maybe you can use it to explode some vampire heads. As soon as his head exploded, I'm like, they put that shit in him. Probably too much hemoglobin or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
I like that.
But
I like that too.
I wonder if they said what they put in them, because I didn't catch it.
I don't think they did.
Maybe they did.
I kind of want to rewind that scene and see, but I think they just grabbed something off screen and...
Yeah.
It's yellow syringe and...
Yeah. That's immediately what I thought of, though. Hematologist and too much hemoglobin or not enough hemoglobin or whatever. Switching movies,
they
though.
say something like that in this film.
There is something about
Yeah, it's like mentioned like one time in passing about how, vampires are deficient in... I thought they said like melatonin, which is nowhere near. So maybe it was, what did you say?
Hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin. Maybe they said that.
There was something. Maybe it was on his ID badge that said like hematologist or something, or maybe he was a hematologist.
Did you like the scanner that he had to walk through to get into the lab?
Yeah.
That would tell whether whether or not he was a vampire.
I liked it.
Yeah, and then when he walked back through
it just started going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like that.
Looking at it like deadpan.
Just visually, I thought it looked cool, and then the more that I thought about it, I'm like, that's kind of cool. It's just like a cool security system.
It's a Mission Impossible.
Right. Resident Evil with the laser walls.
Oh, I didn't like that part.
And then kind of going towards the end now here with the treated vampire blood.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
Excuse me.
Quit yawning.
Sorry.
This is serious business.
Been up all day for work.
Kind of like how vampire blood infects human blood. In turn, treating vampire blood, that blood will infect vampire blood.
My only question was, how did they learn that? That would work in such a short amount of time.
They did it as soon as
dumb luck.
Yeah, we find out how Willem Dafoe got switched back. So he's treated now. We find out Ethan Hawke got treated because they put him in the thing, did this test,
ran an experiment,
caught him on fire. And then when his brother catches up with them and he's like, okay, I'm going to help you. Yeah. But they didn't know that they treated him because he was still a vampire. And as soon as he bit into Willem Dafoe's treated blood treated him. Oh,
I missed that. Okay.
Yeah. There was like this whole little scene in that room.
I mean, I remember that scene, but...
Yeah, so he gets the sniff for his
that
blood.
Part in my mind.
Yeah.
I didn't connect enough of
So it's like, as soon as he bit into Willem Dafoe, his blood counteracted with the vampire blood and turned him back. And so, that's why Ethan Hawke's waiting for Sam Neill to bite him. Because as soon as he bites him, he's going to turn back.
Yeah.
I thought that was like super interesting.
I thought that's pretty cool.
I don't know.
It's got some kind of dark undertones to it, if you think about it.
How so?
Fucking half the world's population is going to be dead.
Oh, right.
By the time this is all said and done.
Yeah.
Because...
We saw it just with those, like the security guard and the military people.
And then only
4 of them were left, and then they got shot anyway.
Yeah. But think of what that would do worldwide.
Well, I think their plan, now that Sam Neill's out of the way, is they're going to figure out a way to...
Yeah, make more of those tanks.
Yeah, make this airborne or figure something out.
Yeah.
Because now, I mean, they could do like the single person air tanks, or they might even be able to, figure out a way
why you couldn't
to do contained.
A bunch of people
yeah. But now that they know that it's their treated blood, I mean, they could figure out some way to take their blood, oxidize it.
I assume that they set up all that time about him being a blood pathogen scientist, whatever, that, oh, well, now I can take my blood because my blood has the cure in it and science that shit and come up with an actual cure.
And now he's got Willem Dafoe's blood, he's got those other survivors' blood.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot to go around.
Yeah.
So while I was watching this, I was kind of thinking about how humans and vampires could kind of coexist. Just because I was like, well, I don't know if I'd want to be a vampire, but I wouldn't want to be spending my whole life running around. Like, why can't we just, like, I mean, we have blood donor places, like,
right?
Why couldn't
blood farms?
Essentially, I mean, why couldn't we set up something like, okay, we can coexist? How about once a week, let's say, humans are required by law to go and donate some blood, and then in turn, the vampires start this fund. They end up paying, and you kind of get this coexisting thing. That was one way I thought of it. What
I thought would have been interesting is So vampires can't come out in the daytime, only the nighttime. It would have been interesting to see. Again, I come back to if we could have skipped back in time and seen the beginnings of this.
Yeah, how
would you have seen? Let's say Chicago. Chicago during the day would have been all humans, and then at a certain point, you would have had like a siren that would have went off closer to nighttime, where everyone would have had to, all the humans,
fuck off the streets.
Yeah, they would have had to go to like a safe zone, and then all of the vampires would have came out at night, and you would get to see the city flip in nighttime.
I like that.
I thought that would have been an interesting dynamic that I would have liked to have seen early on.
I like that too. That could be interesting. Yeah, I don't know if that would work out as well though.
You could play a lot with that dynamic.
Yeah, you could have like different rec centers or.
Because you make it one of those things where like the humans are pissed off that they have to stay in, quarantines.
Then it turns into
safe zones.
District 9 or
District 9 kind of shit. Yeah, that'd be cool. And then you have like the good vampires who want what's best for humans, and then the other
Hawke and
and then the other ones that are like people who will break into these quarantine zones and
kidnap people to eat.
Yeah. Like a news report of like breaks into the quarantine zones has been on the rise.
Why don't we make this movie?
This movie's really good. Everyone stop listening.
No, that's a great idea.
That's funny you should say that. That's how the movie Tusk got going.
Yeah,
Kevin Smith on a podcast.
Yeah, just talking about yeah. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, like you District 9 that shit. Like that's a good way to do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot. For as old as this vampire lore is, and as many different iterations as we've seen, there's still so many more avenues that you could play with this.
Bram Stoker's Dracula is what, 1880?
It's old.
It's old. It's 1880s, I think. So yeah, this goes way the fuck back.
I mean, what's Vlad the Impaler? Isn't that kind of the the genesis of it? That goes back
I was gonna ask you, do you have a favorite vampire movie? Just off the top of your head. And you can include, I'll talk for a minute, you can include like traditional like Bela Lugosi Dracula, or you can go into like Blade films. You can encompass whatever you would like.
Oh man. I mean, I grew up with Blade. Yeah. And that's kind of what I always imagined vampires to be. But then the older I got, the more like you can't top Christopher Lee.
Right.
That's like tip top stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as like world vampires and like how I envision vampires, it's very much that Blade world, the dusting and crumbling of vampires. Kind of, they have their own nightclubs, stuff like that. I always thought that was super interesting.
For us in particular, we were also the perfect age when Blade came out.
Yeah, for sure.
To be super fucking cool and influential for both of us.
Definitely.
But I think I'm gonna go with Fright Night.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Fright Night. The remake of it is good too, but it's good in a different kind of way. But the original fucking Fright Night, and just how it plays with vampires.
Yeah, My Neighbor's a vampire.
Yeah, and it plays with the mythology of it a little bit too, where like he goes to puts the cross in his face and just grabs a hold of it.
It's like, what the hell are you thinking?
Like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then the whole bringing in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
The TV show host.
Blade kind of plays with that too, because he talks about forget what you've read about in books and seen in cartoons. Yeah. Vampires are real. Steaks, garlic, sunlight. Anything else is your ass.
I like that too.
That's just, I don't know. But as far as vampire films, Daybreakers would be in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
It's hard. That'd be like, kind of like listing Batman. Like who the best actor, voice actor, like how we did on your show.
Yeah, which will be coming up here soon.
Awesome. Yeah. That's super tough. And like going through, and like I said, all the different iterations of vampires and the different lore and the different mythologies, that's hard to list.
Technically do Fright Night.
That's higher though.
Oh yeah.
I don't know the critics like it more.
That's dumb. How do people not like Fright Night? 76%.
I mean, it's still a lot.
High. That should be like 100%.
That's crazy. But it's crazy how many more different iterations and stories you can tell with this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tweak it and twist it a little bit here and there, but a vampire is still a vampire.
I like the way that we're finally far enough removed from Twilight that we can do vampires again. Because while it's not...
What's one lately? What's a vampire movie lately?
I mean, I don't know if they've really done one lately.
Other than, I mean, like the remake. When was that? 2012 or something? Of Fright Night?
Maybe even sooner than that. I guess I don't remember offhand. Yeah, what other?
When was the last Twilight?
2012, I think.
So has there been any vampire films within the last 5 years that have kind of been, like, noteworthy? I mean, I'm sure they've made... there's a ton of stuff made.
I mean...
But, like, what has stood out? That like Blade, like Daybreakers, like Fright Night. You know, I can't think of anything. I haven't seen a good vampire flick.
There's got to be something I'm missing. When was Let the Right One In? When was that?
Oh, I guess that was 2010s sometime. So that's a vampire one?
Yeah.
Oh, I never watched that one.
Yeah, you should.
Oh, there's a bunch of newer horror films I haven't seen yet.
But I think we're finally at the point where you could do vampires again.
Yeah.
And it can be back to being, like...
Yeah.
Correct. Cool.
Not diamond-plated skin and sparkles.
I mean, to be fair, people, you're allowed to... The whole point of the show is you're allowed to like whatever you like. If you like Twilight, that's fine. But, I mean, that's geared for an audience that's not you and me.
Right.
So,
and I mean, I make fun of the sparkling skin and stuff, but I guess there was something, I don't know if this is true or not. There was something that...
It's all fiction.
There was something about the author that, like, the way that she described was, like, how like, tough the skin is and all the cells are so tight together and stuff that it is, like, crystallized. There was something that she described it, and in my head I was like, yeah, I guess, but it doesn't need a glitter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, why do you gotta throw that in there? That's what I mean, though. Like, you can play with it and tweak it, but there's some points where it just gets silly. Yeah. Transforming into a bat.
Yeah.
Nah, that's not for today. That was for 1930s.
Or Leslie Nielsen in Dracula Dead and Loving It. Oh my God, you've never seen Dracula Dead and Loving It? Jeff.
No.
What are you doing?
What was that?
I don't remember offhand. Probably after the Naked Gun films.
Oh, okay.
Or in between one of them or whatever, like around that time.
So it's kind of like a spoof?
Yeah, it's a spoof film where he plays a vampire, and they make fun of all of this, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Did you see What We Do in the Shadows? It's newer. What's Done? It's not really a spoof. I think it's more of like a mockumentary kind of thing.
No. About
vampires. I guess it's really good.
Huh.
From what I've heard in reviews and stuff.
What was it called?
I think it's What We Do in the Shadows.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and I think it was like a play on the mockumentary kind of thing, and
that's a good idea.
Someone follows around a vampire.
That's a good idea, like a found footage mockumentary thing about a vampire.
I think that's what it is. I keep hearing about it.
And if that's not what that movie's about,
then we're doing it.
That's another one that I want to copyright. Shut up! I like this.
We're doing it.
Fucking use that camera right there, and we could do one of those things
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. This is a line that I really liked. I wrote down a couple of lines. We kind of talked about some of them by Willem Dafoe. Talked about the hurt like hell. This ugly fucking house. I've turned 35 10 times. So we already talked about all those. This is probably my favorite line in the film from Ethan Hawke talking to Sam Neill. Sam Neill. Why did I say Nielsen? I don't know. Okay. That was weird. Sam Neill bites him. He starts turning back human. Ethan Hawke has this great line, "Welcome back to humanity. Now you get to die."
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought that was kind of badass.
That was the point where I was like, put Cowl on him. He could be a good Batman.
And then the last thing we've talked about, how this film would have been helped by sequels, prequels, a trilogy, something. I think if we had gotten more of this world, of this story, this would have done a lot better. I don't know why people didn't find this interesting.
I find it super fucking fascinating.
I don't know why people wouldn't. I didn't read any of the critiques on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't want to. I don't want to see any of that shit.
It's difficult, I think, when the very first movie you're doing has to set up a whole world, and by the end of it, you have to have some kind of like cure or end or means to stop everything that you just established. That is a lot of ground to cover in an hour and a half.
This is World War Z kind of does that.
Yeah.
World War Z kind of sets up everything as zombies, but at the end, it's kind of the same thing. They find this cure, and now it just ends. It's like, okay, what do they do after that?
Yeah. I kind of don't like movies that are about finding a cure.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I like this one. Like, I'm not saying it can't be done.
There's something...
It's
lazy about it.
It's a very formula thing.
Yeah.
Just like I also, if I was to point to a couple things I don't like when movies go to such an extreme of, we've only got food for another month.
Yeah. You just plot it in. Like they just drop you in with like seconds to spare in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. You're like, how the fuck did we get here?
We talked about how much did we talk about this whole podcast? How much we wanted to see how they got there.
Yeah.
Show me how you got there first.
Don't just drop me into your shit and say, look at where we are now. Better find something out.
Yeah.
Show me how you got there. Show me the steps of how this happened.
Imagine, this would be like, what if you did a movie where it was, you're stranded on a mountain.
My Side of the Mountain?
No, you're stranded on a mountain. Hatchet. Yes, what if you did Hatchet? No, but what if you did a movie where you're on a mountain and everyone's dead by the time you start the movie except for one guy.
Okay, right.
And that guy's got like 5 minutes to live. And you drag that out for an hour and a half and then he just dies.
I'm sure there's movies like that.
Yeah. That's not a movie I want to make. Like, right. I want to see I want to see your people and how you got to the mountain and what happened and what led them there. And I don't know.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I just don't like the whole, we've only got a month left of food. And
yeah, came very drastically.
Yeah.
Oh, one last thing I want to mention before we kind of get into like final thoughts and stuff. In the blood farm, which this creeps me out.
Are you talking about when they pull the old guy on the gurney?
No. Like right when you get in there and it's still fully loaded and stuff and they're draining everybody. This is a detail that creeps me out and I don't like, but at the same time I'm really happy they added this little detail.
Yeah, what was that?
So you see, I mean, there's a wide array of people, old, young, men, women. There's a pregnant woman on the blood section things.
Yeah.
Which is just those little details that kind of like, oh God, that baby. But I'm like, at the same time, like, why wouldn't there be a pregnant woman that got caught? Yeah. And when I forget what his name is, but in the last human group that's kind of bundled up, they went out to save a bunch more people. He talks about how they had like 15 more. They're in a convoy on the way back. They get the dart shot, blows the tire. Where am I going? They all jump out. They start shooting. There's a shootout. Vampires go open up the RV, pull out women. You hear babies crying. You hear children. I'm just like, oh God. It just makes me so uneasy. Yeah. But it's like, that's what makes this film stand out, is because it does have those little hints of realism. Like, why would there not be children?
Of course.
Why wouldn't there be babies? I hate people. Yeah, exactly. I hate when you get to these films. I don't know how to explain it. Like, kind of like apocalyptic, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's world's taken over by vampires. But in films where there's no children and no old people, I know. It's like, I mean, if you get to a point like Mad Max, like, they would all be killed. I get that, because men or women and children might be slower. They might be singled out.
People are not having kids.
Yeah, exactly. So in some cases, kind of makes sense. But I mean, like here, it's been maybe a decade. There would still be younger children. Yeah, there's still. I mean, Walking Dead, they have a baby.
They're still on the human side of it, even though they say that they're going extinct. There's still pockets of people.
Yeah, exactly.
That are trying to survive that would have kids and stuff. And,
yeah, for sure. So I like when they add that in, because I constantly think about when there is an apocalypse, how slowed down I'm going to be dragging my kids and wanting behind me. Because with
gone after a week, Jeff.
Without them, I'd be like fucking Daryl, but with them, I'm going to be like Rick and go crazy trying to drag them along. Coral! Be screaming at my kids the whole time.
Coral?
Yeah. Shut up! Do you not hear people coming to kill us? Like, I often have dreams about that. Just what would I do now?
Yeah, you'd be screwed.
I know, right? Yeah. It'd be awful. I know I said this last time. One last thing. What did you think about the whole kind of subplot with Sam Neill's daughter?
That was interesting. I like that.
It's kind of like, I'm glad it's there, but at the same point, it's like, why?
It was a little forced, but I think they felt the need to make you hate his character a little more than just evil figurehead of a company.
Right.
You got to give him a little more weight than that.
Yeah.
So, sure.
I think it was interesting.
It didn't take up so much screen time that I'm like, fucking get on with this shit. Like, it was there. It was cool.
And it kind of draws out why he bites Ethan Hawke at the end, because he kind of plays into it like you're a coward. You couldn't even do it to your own daughter, or how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a man up or shut the fuck up kind of thing.
Yeah, I dug it.
I did like, though, like, she gets bit, and you see her, she hasn't been eating her blood, and she's biting at herself and turning into a subsider. I like that scene at the end where they had that big convoy and those guys in the chains, the subsiders in the chain,
that was a cool scene.
Just marching out to their death. I really liked that scene. Yeah. But you see her, and she glances back and looks at Ethan Hawke's brother, and it's like, oh yeah, that's Sam Neill's daughter, and look where she is now. She's going out to die, and that it plays a little bit more than I guess I initially thought, because then that kind of leads Ethan Hawke's brother to be like, are we doing the right thing? Because, like, 4 days ago, she was fine.
Yeah, that's kind of like his point where he's like, maybe I'm not on the right side on this one.
Exactly. So I guess she plays a little bit bigger.
Serves a purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I really liked it, though. Oh, man, you got any final thoughts? Anything else you want to add about Daybreakers?
Not about Daybreakers, but I do have something fun to add.
Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Are we done with...
I just got trivia left.
Do some trivia, and then I'll do my thing at the end.
All right. I have one piece of trivia.
Okay,
there was no trivia about this.
That might be a first.
Yeah. The only thing that I could find that was vaguely interesting, the creators, what were their names? Michael and Peter Spierig.
Yeah.
They hosted a contest to come up with images of how a world would look with nearly everyone as a vampire, like how the world would look. And then they took winners and stuff, like who they thought was the most interesting.
Their ideas.
Essentially, yeah. But I mean, I'm sure
that's probably where some of the cooler ideas for the film came from. Like you were talking about the buildings with the tunnels that and that was someone's idea that they didn't get paid for.
The Back to the Future. What's the estate they're building in Back to the Future?
Oh, that's the Lions Estates.
Right.
In Back to the Future. Yeah, what is it in
I forgot what it's called, but it's like as soon as he pulls in there, I'm like, that's Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Shit, yeah, you're right. After you say that, yeah, that is interesting.
But like how they have those lights and then the sirens and stuff was like just that world building is very interesting, very cool stuff.
And the hoverboard, I particularly like the hoverboard.
Yeah, right.
In this movie.
Yep.
If you guys didn't see that, rewatch it and look really close for the hoverboard sequence.
Newsflash, you won't find it.
Watch it again for the third time.
All right. Nope. What's your thing you got?
So
I'm very excited to hear about this.
Are you excited for this? Let me pull it up on my phone here. This, because I knew that we were going to talk so much about vampires in this film, crosses over weirdly with some of the stuff I do on my podcast. Some of the subjects that I want to cover.
Vampires?
Vampires and weird stuff and whatever. And so I found a website very cleverly named vampirewebsite.net.
All right, go on.
This is an actual website, Jeff, that you can go to where if you want to know more information about being an actual vampire. Now, I found a really funny questionnaire on how to tell if you are a real vampire. Now, this is really overly elaborately long. This is like 50 questions. We're not going to do all 50. But I am going to randomly read you 10 questions, and we're going to determine whether or not you are a vampire, Jeff.
I'm fucking ready. Let's hear it.
Because this, and I strongly encourage everyone to check this out on Vampire.
Did you go through all 50?
VampireWebsite.net. I mean, I read the whole thing.
Oh, man. Let's do it.
Have you ever been told by professionals that you're lucky you survived an accident with only a few scratches or cuts?
Not by professionals.
Not by professionals. Are you naturally strong with magic / energy or self-taught or self-realized, Jeff? Don't ask me what half of that means because
what's overly strong mean?
I don't know. This gets into
pound for pound.
Yeah,
pound for pound, I'm pretty strong.
You're pretty strong, so that's a maybe. As a kid, were you the strongest, smartest, or quickest in the class at around age of 16?
Quickest. I was the fastest in my class.
So you're on track. You could be a vampire.
Yes.
Right now, Jeff.
Look at this tooth.
Oh my God. Do people often tell you that you look very young for your age, or that they would never have guessed how old you are?
Yeah.
I might need a cross here pretty soon.
Those don't work.
Do you have unusually high tolerance for alcohol and other poisonous toxins?
What?
Hey!
Alcohol and poisonous toxins?
Poisonous toxins, that's what they want to know.
I don't know.
How drunk do you get? You get pretty fucked up pretty quick?
No. I can usually hold my liquor pretty well.
Do you rarely get sick, or when you get sick, does your body recover quicker than most people?
I don't know. I don't get sicker than anybody else. I don't think.
I'm not kidding when I say, look at the amount of questions they have on
goodness.
This. We'll do a couple more. Some of these get really weird. Are your nails clear like glass, yet very strong?
No.
No, I don't think you have that one. A legitimate vampire is able to safely digest more than 600% of the daily recommended amount of iron. I know you said you've been doing a lot of working out. Have you tried 600% more the daily dosage of iron in your diet yet today?
I don't pay attention to iron.
You should do an experiment.
I don't know.
I want to do one more.
Yeah, get one of the weird ones.
This one is weird.
I mean, those are all pretty weird, but...
Okay, so this starts out... just bear with me here for a minute.
I'm ready.
Do you have unusually pale skin? What do you think?
I mean, I'm paler than you, maybe.
I think we're both pretty pale, pasty white people here.
Yeah, we're pretty white.
They had an experiment that says if you think you might have pale skin, I want you to do this, Jeff.
Bring it on.
Cook up 1 or 2, depending on the size, medium rare steaks.
No. What kind of steaks?
They don't. This is vampirewebsite.net.
They need to be more specific. Do I need sirloin? Do I need ribeye? What do I need?
You pick 2 of your favorite kinds of steaks here. 1 medium rare and 1 not so medium rare. If by the time you're done enjoying the second one, you have a new pinkish color throughout your body that you haven't had in a while.
I have to eat 2 steaks for this?
You have to eat 2.
I'm gonna poop like a madman.
You may be a vampire because real humans can't digest blood. So basically they're saying if you eat like a really...
But that's not... when you have like a medium rare steak, it's not... meat animals are drained when they're butchered. When you get that reddish liquid, that's that's a form of protein.
Well, don't tell this to vampirewebsite.net.
That's not blood.
Because they are working under the assumption that you just digested blood.
Oh man. That's a big stereotype thing. That's a myth. It's not blood. It's a form of protein.
Look at this one. This is number 27. Do the words, "Come outside, it's a nice, bright, sunny day, and there's a lot of people out," seem like a bad thing?
Wow. I can't believe you found that.
So based on these questions, Jeff, are you a real vampire?
I don't know.
I think...
I might be on the path.
I think you're borderline. I think we would need to do some experiments with some iron intake and some raw steak.
Yeah. I can't believe you found that.
Oh, this is good stuff. They have How to Get Turned into a Vampire is subheading. They also have one for telling your friends how to find a real vampire. There's all kinds of interesting and I'm sure accurate information.
Vampire jokes. The new code. Approaching a sobering moment. Vampire community. Recognizing a slayer. The truth about real slayers. Vampire cults. Letter from a real slayer. How to find a real vampire. I am interested now since we are on this. Oh, look at all these steps.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit.
There will be a dark-colored ring around the iris of their eye. There is generally a noticeably different color surrounding the pupil.
They kind of talk to that in the film.
A real vampire's breathing will be slightly shallow at all times, except for when they are extremely excited or upset.
Like doing this podcast.
A real vampire's heart rate usually will match the person's heart rate and speed that is next to them while they were sleeping. But their heart doesn't beat.
Tell that to vampire website.
They will be able to change your moods and feelings to however they are feeling at the time. Mm-hmm. Babies and cats are very sensitive to that effect, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's nice to know.
Their aura will have dark clouds of energy in it. Wow,
That's outrageous.
That is crazy. I
thought you would like that. I thought you would like the vampire test.
One more time, what is it?
It is vampirewebsite.net.
I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm probably going to wind up in a dumpster next week. So if you found my body, it was vampirewebsite.net.
Yeah.
They got me. Wow, that's some crazy stuff. I love that.
Too bad they don't have merchandise.
Oh my god, I'd be all over that.
I'd buy a shirt.
I would buy a shirt.
Net on the front of it.
For sure. I would buy it. Yeah, I'd buy all sorts of shit from them.
I just Googled.
Wow.
I Googled, how do I become a vampire? And it brought up a lot of stuff like Skyrim. You know, like, how do you become a vampire in Skyrim? Like, YouTube tutorial. But then you start scrolling down and you start getting into the weird side of the internet. Where it's
You're getting into some dark shit.
Where it's like Wiccan websites and all that.
Yeah, you better stop. You're getting in too deep.
It's fucking fascinating how weird people are.
You're gonna have some dudes in sunglasses show up and sunscreen show up at your house.
Men in Black style.
Yeah, tomorrow evening at dusk. You're gonna be like, oh, is Kyle here? While we're on the subject of vampires, this whole film's about vampires. Something that I think everybody should check out. It's an older game, 2000. Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines. Yeah. Great games. Check those out.
Wasn't there a vampire MMO you were telling me about?
I think that was
some new vampire game.
Oh, Vampire.
With just like a Y?
Yeah, Vampire with a Y. That's a new game coming out. Xbox One, PS4, PC, stuff like that. I want to play that. I did an article on it a while ago. Check that out. I don't know. I think that's about going to do it for Daybreakers. I think we got into quite a bit with that.
I think so too.
That was pretty good. Really happy with that. We have decided on next week. I'm so excited about next week. This is what I've been waiting to do for a while.
Hobo with a shotgun.
Hobo with a shotgun. Rutger Hauer is the hobo with a shotgun. Love that film. Can't wait to dive into that.
It's a good time to hit.
Get out. So looking forward to that. Your Twitter, your website, your other podcast?
You can check me out at vampirewebsite.net. I wish I was creative enough.
Do you?
So here's what I want to know. Do you think vampirewebsite.net is a joke? Like someone like you or me was like, man, it would be fucking funny to write a tongue-in-cheek thing?
That, I bet they're serious.
You think they're serious?
For sure.
That is amazing.
That's for sure. There was a girl I went to school with who thought she was a vampire.
Oh, who?
She wore. She's
don't say any names.
Well, she's a year or two younger than me. She wore like a Dracula cape and shit all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get you on my podcast.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about real vampires.
So there's people like that for sure that are into that cultist shit and mythical. What we see as entertainment and fun and creative,
like.
People take that shit too seriously.
I enjoy all of this, like cryptos and Men in Black, and Bigfoot, but as an entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think it's entertaining.
People get deep into this stuff, and they need to take a step back and reassess their lives.
Yeah,
for sure. So where can they really find you?
Attackoftheblog.net is the name of my website. Otherwise, on Twitter at InhumanWitch. You can find me on there, or Pantheon Network if you want to listen to my podcast. I have to pay to be able to post more content, so that's why I haven't got a couple.
We'll get it figured out.
A couple of the newer ones up.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna get that done here soon. Because I've got some good stuff. I've got about 3 or 4 shows already recorded that I need to get up.
Sweet.
Some good stuff.
I'm excited to hear about the Batman one.
Yeah, we did a Batman one. That'll be a lot of fun.
For sure. I'm excited to listen to it again.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, PantheonNetwork.com, everything's up there. You can find these new mugs. Shout out, I like these mugs. There's t-shirts.
I like these mugs. That's a good
There's
us holding them like that.
There's t-shirts, working on some more different designs and stuff. Get a bunch of t-shirts up there. There's just a bunch of stuff you can check out. There's multiple podcasts. There's your Attack of the Podcast. There's there's Comedy Bowl.
We need to get some more up on there too. If anyone else.
Yeah. I've been slacking hardcore. I've been kind of focused on Indie Gamer Magazine.
Yeah, you've
been super focused on that.
You've been playing Far Cry.
Far Cry 5. Yeah. I just been enjoying that. Spider-Man's out. Yeah.
It's out.
Yeah.
And it's out now. Actually.
It's out.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just so much stuff, and then there's just a lot to do, and there's so much more we want to do, and it's just one step at a time. Like with these mugs that you can find at PantheonNetwork.com. Shout out, I like these.
We keep talking about making the set.
Yep, a little
improvements.
Yeah. So and already, I mean, through 45, 46 episodes. I mean, we've gone through a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially from the very first episode to the very first video episode to now, it's unspoken for sure. So just check all those out. Of course, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Be sure, if you listen to us or watch us on YouTube, to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Shut Up I Like This. That's where we do the mystery boxes, and we want you guys to get more involved with that. We just
vampire blood.
It's
up to you what you do with it, folks.
We just want to make sure that everybody who wants to get a chance at the mystery box is getting a chance.
Yeah.
Because we have so many people watching and listening, and we just don't have that.
Get more interaction.
That more interaction on Facebook and stuff. So
Facebook is a top platform. I think.
Yeah.
To get interaction with.
I mean, we have all these people on YouTube and stuff, but it's just like, if you want to win some shit, check us out on Facebook.
I don't think anyone would want free shit.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm working on adding some new stuff to our videos and stuff, because I think with this show in particular and showing screenshots and videos and stuff, I want to do some more video stuff. We've talked about Shut Up I Like This Game, ordering some kind of games. Like there's a Scorpion King tie-in PS2 game.
Yeah, we thought it would be fun or funny to do some tie-in games for some of the stuff. that we've talked about. We found a terrible Rambo video.
Right.
Game.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff,
King, which may or may not actually be kind of good.
I don't know. I haven't
really decided.
Yeah, I probably when this comes out, I've probably already ordered it, so we're gonna check that out. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of stuff.
You'll be able to have like gameplay footage. And stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah. It'll basically be a stream that we'll just put up on Facebook.
That'll be fun.
And YouTube and stuff. So, just stay alert. We're always trying to add new things and add more content and do more cool stuff. So, check us out next week for Hobo with a Shotgun. Maybe we'll throw out a mystery box here soon. Looking forward to it, and we'll see you guys next week. This has been Shut Up, I Like This from the Pantheon Network Studios, brought to you from my basement. Shut Up, I Like These mugs, now available. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. See you next week.